So in 2007, the computer concept that you had, Destination Hope, for an online concept, a .com treatment situation that was going to be obviously expensive, and you shelved it. You dust that off, and now you're thinking to yourself, I want to make this an actual facility.
Yeah.
This is not about online anymore.
Right.
Okay, so walk us through how that comes to be.
So I'll preface it by saying that if you've ever done something and didn't think about it too much and you ended up doing it, that's sort of how this happened. What I mean by that is, in retrospect, if I could do it over again, I probably would have done it a little differently, but I didn't know what I didn't know, and I just went all in. And so I knew how to run a clinical program. I knew how to run a case management program. I knew how to run a tech program. Techs are the ones that associate with the patients.
Right.
I didn't know the business side of the business, and I learned, through a lot of trial and error. But I literally sat down at my my dining room table. We lived in Plantation at the time, and on a legal pad, I developed Destination Hope out of that notebook that I had.
Right.
And who I wanted to hire and how we wanted to structure it, and one of the things that I came up with very late, like before I opened, was I really wanted to do gender-specific treatment. It had never been done before, and everything that I read up to that point, all the literature suggested that if you can do gender-specific treatment, your treatment success rate will go up. So when we opened up Destination Hope, it was a 12-bed all-male facility.
I see, okay.
And so we built that up to, I think, 16 or 18 beds. And at the time, I was everything. I was the CEO, I was the janitor, I was the marketer, I was the admissions person. I'm fielding all the calls, I'm painting. My wife, Suzanne, she's basically the CFO. She's doing the billing and collections. And we started to hire people, that we knew,
Right.
Over time, and it worked out. It worked out. It was really great. 3 years later, I opened up the women's program. Same type of setup, but man, did I learn a lot about that. That here I am thinking, well, listen, it's gender specific, it's men and then it's women.
Right.
Let's do the same thing. And that's just not the case. I didn't have the right staff in place for the women. Their issues are in some ways different than men.
Right.
And it took about 18 months to correct that problem. But eventually we did. And again, I was the only treatment center that was doing gender-specific treatment. Now everybody copies what I did. In October of 2012, I opened up the Sylvia Brafman Mental Health Center. We were the first non-Medicare mental health center in the state of Florida. And I'm very, very proud of that. I opened up the Sylvia Brafman program based on the virtues of my mother. Empathy, kindness, compassion, this sort of mantra of, there's always room for one more.
Right.
And what she meant by that is that we're not going to turn you away. We're not going to let you down. You're going to be part of something. And so it wasn't that we wanted to collect as many mentally ill people as we could. That'd be nonsense. We couldn't do that. But what we could do is we could treat them with dignity and respect and pride and all those things, and we did that. And it was very successful.
And how long, so you're now running, these are now incongruent to each other, two separate?
So Destination Hope
Uh-huh.
was the umbrella. and the Sylvia Brafman program operated underneath that umbrella
So it was
as the mental health carve out of Destination Hope.
Okay, so it was a program, not a center.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
For marketing purposes, we would call it a center.
Got it.
For branding purposes.
Got it. Okay. And so all this proved to be successful.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so you're rolling along. And for how many years how long are you just doing that for? And until you're into the next venture or the next add-on, explain how many years that's for, and is there anything that happened at Destination Hope, or anyone that you met that was a standout, something, a story that you can tell, or maybe you have multiple, of an experience that you had at this at Destination Hope, and how long did everything kind of go status quo with running what you're running with this facility?
So Destination Hope was small, intimate, family owned and operated, and I met a lot of really good people along the way. So there's two individuals that really stood out to me. One, his name is Alton. He passed away a couple of years ago, but he was like a perfect number 2 guy. He was an internal guy. He kept things in order. He was a very spiritual person, and I loved having him around. Plus, he was a good friend, and we could bounce ideas off each other, and we didn't need to explain things to each other. We knew the business of treatment. So losing him was very personal to me. It was very hurtful, and that sort of stood out. The other one was a staff member by the name of Thomas. He actually, I knew him, but I didn't know him that well. But he got fired from this job that he had for telling the owner to go F himself. And he literally, I think that day, drove to my center and was telling me, and basically I said to him, well, you want a job, let me hire you, and he's saying, I just told this other owner to go F himself, and I'm in the weeds, I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
Anyway, so the three of us really formed a great bond with each other, and myself with their assistance, of course, with Suzanne, we really built up Destination Hope and branded it correctly. So that sort of stands out. I will tell you that I hired a lot of decent people who were hungry to get involved in behavioral health. I'm a loyal person, and many of these people, when things didn't go as planned, their dedication and loyalty was tested, and unfortunately about 95% of them disappointed me and took advantage, and left unceremoniously, were either fired or what I like to call is forced quit.
Right.
Which is they quit because there was really nothing else they could do. Very, very poor gratitude on their part. I would have appreciated them thanking me, shaking my hand, and moving on. And a lot of them were dirty. They stole records from me. They gossiped about things that just weren't necessary. Some of them are in the field now, which is a little frightening to me.
Right.
Because you've got these people that are literally have no education and really no business being in the field, and here they are masquerading as some kind of professional, and it's an embarrassment to behavioral health. It's one of the reasons that rehab is not regulated, and rehab, the term rehab is not regulated. Anybody could be a rehab center, and so. That stuff really stands out. But we did really good work, and we helped thousands of people. I enjoyed it. We had, I ran a family program at Destination Hope, and I would have 60 to 80 patients and families in a room that could fit maybe 40, and nobody left. I've impacted a lot of people.
Right.
I've stayed in touch with a lot of these family members. Destination Hope was meant to be run by family. It was meant to be small, and that's what it was. And it was also a lot of fun.
When you say small, how many people were in treatment let's say at a maximum capacity?
So originally it was around 16, then it bumped up to 30, then it got to like 36. The highest we ever were was around 90, and
Right.
it really wasn't the Destination Hope that I wanted anymore. And I made some mistakes as a CEO of Destination Hope. I allowed my generosity to dictate paying people what they definitely didn't deserve.
Right.
That was bad. Believed in people that didn't really have the skills. I saw it in them, but they didn't really see it in them, so they took advantage of it. It was very hard the last 3 years of Destination Hope.
Kind of a learning lesson of the pitfalls of running now a business, a company, and you thought maybe the difficulty was going to be in the treatment of the clients, and in fact it seems like the difficulty was in fact with your staff and people you trusted.
Right, and I really needed to trust them, and I'll give you another story about trust and loyalty and stuff. So this one employee that I had, I'll call him Zeke.
Mm-hmm.
He came in, he was a tech, and then he became director of admissions, and he actually moved up to be vice president of operations. And I used to mentor him and really took him under my wing, and he was backstabbing me the whole time by stealing data. He stole equipment from the office.
What would stealing data do for him?
Well, he could start his own treatment center.
Okay, so this is about
right, and just a liar, and really, he was in charge of the staff. A lot of the staff, and made them feel very uncomfortable. He was involved in kickbacks, and he was involved in just a lot of dirty things that go on in the treatment center. He's part of what's called patient brokering, where he would get paid for putting people in treatment, sort of under the table.
And how does one do that under the table? How is
Like cash,
Right.
You get so there's no quote unquote, you can't really trace it.
I see.
He and then he left in 2019. He left like a coward in the middle of the night, and it was very hurtful to me and to the staff because he's very likable. But I guess sociopaths are likable,
Yeah, it seems to go hand in hand,
Yeah.
right?
But you know what? So that stuff's messy, and that stuff is what it is. I absolutely love what we did, and I'm still doing it, and
Right.
and thriving, and feel really good about it. So that comes with the territory of running a business and the cost of doing business. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to spend money you don't want to spend on people that you shouldn't spend money on. And you just have to be careful.
This is true.